Well, hello, rock stars. This is Mrs. Teresa Thomas, and I'll be your facilitator for the presentation, the interview, and you. By the end of this presentation, you will be well equipped and very prepared to go on your next interview and rock it out. So let's get started. Before we take the deep dive into the content, we want to make sure that you know you are valued. You have phenomenal skills, knowledge, and abilities to offer to employers. We want to make sure you know that you have value. You are talented. Yes, I said that. You are talented. You may not know what all your talents may be right now, but trust us when we say that you are talented, you are absolutely talented. You are amazing. Listen, you could be anywhere doing anything else, but you are right here, right now, getting yourself prepared for your next career move. I would say that's absolutely amazing. And last but not least, you are successful. Yes. Listen, I want you to take this statement and do me a favor. I want you to replace the word you with the letter I, and I want you to replace the word are with the word am. And every day, I want you to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am successful. By the end of this presentation, you will be so prepared on how to sit in an interview and answer questions effectively that you won't have any choice but to be successful. Rockstar, you're about to take off. Get ready. So, what's next for you, Rockstar? Let's take a look at some specific things that may indicate what your next is going to be. So, some of you may be in the process of getting ready to apply to that college that you want to go to. If you are going to college, you want to make sure that you have those application deadlines ready and you know how to access those applications. And speaking of college, 9 times out of 10, a scholarship won't hurt. It's a very critical time for you to begin pulling together scholarship information and also making sure that you have those essays ready. Some of you have already made up your mind that, hey, I'm going to get a job. This is what I need to do. Great. So, are you going to get a full-time job, a summer job, or a part-time job? Now is the time for you to determine what your capacity is. And for some, I hear you loud and clear. You've already made your decision that you're going to the military. So if that is your case, you want to make sure that you've taken that ASVAB test. And for some, you're 100% sure that you want to do something, but you're not sure what it is. Maybe looking into an internship program or volunteering is the road for you. All of these options require you to communicate effectively with your counselors, with your teachers, with your parents, and other people who have been helping you along this journey. Let them know what your interests are, and let's get started. As we move forward, I need you to do a couple of things for me, rock stars. So let's go over some housekeeping rules. Yes, I know this is online, but I still need you to pay attention. Make sure you get some paper, a pen, or a pencil and jot down notes as we go. So, are you ready? Okay, well, let's see. We're going to take our first quiz. What will you learn again today? Absolutely. That's what we are going to learn. We are learning about the interview and you. So let's get started. Throughout this presentation, we're going to deep dive into a couple of things that are going to prepare you to be as effective as possible for the interview. We're going to look at the interview tools that you can use to help sharpen your skills. We're going to take a look at what you should do before, during, and after the interview. And we're going to review some of my favorite traditional and behavioral interview questions. So let me ask you, what is an interview? Take a minute to think about that. Well, to keep it quite simple, an interview is a conversation between two people. You have an interviewer and you have an interviewee. This is a place where questions are asked by the interviewer to obtain information from the interviewee. So which one are you? Absolutely. You are the interviewee. So let's go a little bit further. Take that information that we've just learned and apply it to what a job interview is. So when we look at a job interview, we're looking at the opportunity to sell your abilities, your interests, and your career objectives, prove that you are the best candidate for the job, and an opportunity for you to learn more about the position and the company. This is your time to ask questions. So these are the three things that you'll be doing in a job interview. You'll be selling your abilities, interests, and career objectives, proving that you're the best candidate, and asking questions to ensure that you and the company are a good fit for each other. Before the interview, we want to make sure that you have a couple of things in place so that you'll be able to have the most effective interview possible. One, make sure that your online application has been filled out. If there's a paper application, be prepared to fill that out as well. Check your phone settings, and one, make sure that your voicemail is professional. Take all ringtones and fun messages off of your voicemail. For example, if you have something on there that says, "Yo, what up?" take that off and simply leave a voicemail recording that says, "Hi, you've reached Teresa Thomas. I'm not available at the moment. Please leave a message and I'll get back with you shortly." Also, make sure that your voicemail is freed up. You don't want your mailbox to be full if a recruiter is trying to reach out to you to offer you an interview. Check for directions once you are offered the opportunity to come in for an interview. Use your GPS, and if necessary, ride the day before to locate where your interview will be held. Once you get in the interview, be prepared to be face to face with one or more individuals who will be interviewing you. On the day of the interview, we want to make sure that you are on time. It's always great to arrive 15 to 20 minutes ahead of time. Make sure you leave your house in enough time to avoid traffic and still make it to your destination cool, calm, and collected. Dress your best. Make sure that you remember that your first impression is your most important impression. Your first impression is the only impression that you'll get when you are on your way to an interview. 9 times out of 10, you won't get a second time to interview for that same position. Make sure that you have your resume, references, your previous work history, a folder to keep those items in, paper, pen, prepared questions, and a smile. We want to make sure that you look prepared and that you are prepared. If you go into an interview asking for paper or asking for a pen, then guess what? It doesn't look like you've come prepared for the interview. So make sure that you have all of those tools necessary so that you can be seen as a professional who is prepared and ready to interview. During the interview, we want you to stay positive and smile. It'll take you a long way. Let's take a look at the diagram and the picture. Let's start with the picture that is closest to the plant. This young lady's nonverbal communication looks like, yeah, I really don't want to be here. This next picture looks like, wonder what I'm going to eat for lunch. The third picture looks like, whatever, really don't want to be here, just not sure about this. I'm not listening. The last picture is the winning picture. This is how we want you to look in your interview. She has a great eye gaze, wonderful smile, posture is straight, and she's ready to interview for the position. She's attentive and engaged. We've created a list of do's and don'ts for you. This should keep it simple and easy for you to remember things to do and not to do. First, carry a copy of your resume. Slide it in the folder that I mentioned earlier in the presentation. This will give the appearance that you're well put together and that you're ready for business. Dress to your advantage. This is not the time to dress like you're with your friends. We want to see your best professional dress. This includes putting on a polo, freshly ironed pants, casual shoes, no tennis shoes or sandals. Consider leaving the colored hair, excessive jewelry, long fingernails, and any other accessories that we use, such as eyelashes or any type of piercings or tattoos. Consider covering those things up and leaving those things at home and being very well prepared so that people can see you for who you are and listen to your comments and your explanations without being distracted. Offer a firm handshake. I know we're in the middle of a pandemic with the coronavirus, but after this blows over, make sure that you're able to still deliver a firm handshake, not too quick, not too limp, and not too strong. Firm and then release. Make sure you have hand sanitizer at the end, and after the interview is over and you leave, hand sanitize or just simply go to the restroom and wash your hands. At the end of the interview, make sure you express your thanks for the interviewers taking out time to interview you for the position. You can say something as simple as, thank you for the opportunity to interview for this position. I enjoyed learning about what this role requires, and I look forward to hearing from you all soon. These are some absolute no-nos. Don't take telephone calls during the interview. Everyone that is very important to you should already be aware that you are in an interview. So it should be fairly safe for you to cut your phone off or put it on silent. Don't fidget while you're in the interview. Scratching your head, rubbing your arms, moving around in the seat. Take a deep breath and remain calm. Never emphasize money. 9 times out of 10, if compensation is going to be discussed, it'll be during the second interview. In the second interview, if you never hear anything about compensation, now is the time for you to simply ask, what will this position start off paying? And don't go in smelling like smoke. Matter of fact, don't go in smelling like very loud cologne or perfume or even deodorant. Make sure that your scent is still clean, that you're fresh, and that you're prepared to deliver communications without disturbing or distracting someone else's respiratory problems, asthma, or allergies. Let's move forward. So, what interview questions do you think will be asked in an interview? I'll give you a second to think about that. Did you think about this one? It's called an elevator speech. It's simply tell me about yourself. Some of you may have heard of this question before. Tell me about yourself is a question that is designed for you to quickly respond by saying who you are, what skills you bring to the table, and what you expect out of the interview. I'll give you an example. If I was in an interview, let's say for instance, I was applying for an HR director role, I would say something like this. Hi, my name is Teresa Thomas. I have 15 plus years human resource experience. I have my PHR certification and I specialize in career development as well as HR consulting. I have many skills that I can bring to this company and to this role. I look forward to learning more about this position so I can see how my skills in this role will be a great fit for each other. If I was a high school student, I may say something like this. Hi, my name is Teresa. I'm a graduate of Parker High School. I maintained a 4.0 GPA while in high school. My interest was social services and communication. I'm looking to intern at your law firm so that I can become a paralegal. Hopefully, by the end of my internship, I would have gained a lot of skills that I can pour back into your law firm by being a full-time employee. So again, you've expressed the skills you have, who you are, and what you expect out of the interview. What about these questions? Have you seen these before? How do you handle stress and pressure? Describe your work style. What motivates you? And what are your passions? Remember, I told you to keep it positive when you're answering questions. So let me give you an example. How do you handle stress and pressure? Well, somebody might answer that question unknowingly by saying something like, well, I don't deal with stress and pressure real well. When people stress me out, man, I just walk away. That's not what we exactly want you to say. Matter of fact, we don't want you to say that at all. If you get to a situation that you don't 100% know how to answer it, remember, keep it positive, short, and simple. In the past, I've handled stress by staying focused, remaining calm, taking a deep breath, and completing the project or the task at hand. If necessary, I go get a supervisor or someone that is over me to help solve the problem. Here's another question that you're probably going to see. What is your greatest strength? You may need to ask someone that's really close to you, someone that knows you really well, to dig deep and find out what one of your strengths are. I often hear students say they don't know. But listen, even if one of your strengths is communications, then you can use that. Somebody else's strength may be their talent. They can play music or they're an artist. You may be wondering, how do those things relate to a job? Well, think about this. If one of my strengths are my musical abilities, then that means that I have the ability to hear notes well. I can read music. I know how to time music. Timing music is nothing but math. And also, I know how to synchronize and work with a team, because 9 times out of 10, you're not the only instrument in the bunch. So there are a lot of great things that come from you being musically talented. So think about your strengths, not in just one way, but think about those things that you are really, really good at. Here's another question that trips people up sometimes. What is one of your weaknesses? Remember, stay positive. You can use examples like, well, I tend to be too early, or sometimes I can be too kind or too friendly. You can pretty much come back from those. But if you say something like, well, having a little trouble being on time, so that's one of my weaknesses. Well, that's kind of like a no-brainer for an employer. So you never want to use that as an example. Keep it positive and make sure that you're able to recover from your answers and not give an answer that can be devastating to your interview. So let me ask you a question. Should you ask the interviewer questions during the interview? Absolutely. We want you to prepare a list of questions. So the answer is yes. In any successful job interview, we want you to be able to answer questions as well as ask questions. Doing so will prevent you from getting in a job that you really don't want. This is going to require that you do some research and that you learn as much as you can about the workplace, environment, coworkers, and your boss. Not only should the employer be able to get information about you, but this is your opportunity to get information about the employer as well. After the interview, we need you to follow up with a thank you note. Sending a thank you note can be a pretty powerful strategy if used correctly. After you interview, make sure that you send a thank you note through the mail, or you can drop it in the mail. You can drop it in the mailbox right outside of the employer's office. When you send a thank you note, it sets you apart from the other interviewees and it shows that you have good follow-up skills. In the thank you note, it gives you the opportunity to once again express your interest in the position. And if you forgot to say something in the interview, this is the time to make a brief mention of it in the note. Emailing a thank you note can be as effective as mailing one. It also demonstrates that you have great verbal as well as written communication skills. Congratulations! You have the job offer. Give yourself a round of applause. You are done. You made it through the interview and you presentation. Again, give yourself a pat on the back and a loud clap. Before you leave, we want you to write down 3 things that you learned today. Make sure that you take your time, prepare yourself to be your best, and shine. We want you to be a rock star on all of the future interviews that you have set up. And we want you to land your first career position with the strategies and the tools that we've provided for you. Again, thank you for tuning in, paying attention, and listening.